felt the real pain of these tariffs just yet. When companies want to generate sales, they have to go out and build inventory. So they're going to buy raw materials, they're going to put together their works in progress, they have their finished goods, and then they have that inventory that sits on the shelf. Now, we can calculate how much inventory they have using a metric called inventory days. Now, the formula is very simple. You basically just take the inventory that's on their balance sheet over how much they spent to buy their product, and then multiply it by the days in the period that we're looking at. So, using Nike as our example, a company that could be hit hard depending on what happens with these reciprocal tariffs in Vietnam, they had $7.5 billion in inventory at the end of Q1. They spent $6.6 billion on cost of goods sold, so we can calculate the inventory days by taking $7.5 billion, dividing it by $6.6 billion, and multiplying it by the 90 days in the period. That gives us an inventory day count of 102 days. So in plain English, what we're saying is that they have 3 months worth of inventory or cushion that they can sell through before customers see any impact of the tariffs on pricing. But what happens when that inventory runs down and they need to restock? Well, because we don't know exactly what's going on in Vietnam, let's actually shift our example and talk about a company like Munchkin. It's a company that sells baby products, and we know that they manufacture in China. Now, the tariffs there are at 145%. So if they need to buy $100,000 worth of goods because they need to restock their inventory, before the tariffs, they'd pay $100,000 to the Chinese manufacturer. Now they're going to pay that plus $145,000 to the US government in the form of tariffs. So that means they're going to have to pay $245,000 for that $100,000 worth of their product. And I think it's important to remember, right? It's the US importer that is paying the tariff. It is not the manufacturer in China. Now, it is true that a lot of these companies that manufacture overseas are going to be negotiating with their counterparts or what have you. However, no manufacturer is going to be able to drop the cost 145%. So what does that leave the US company to do? Well, they could absorb some losses, they could raise prices, they could cut orders, and honestly, there's going to probably be companies that we do see shutting down. Not to mention, there is so much uncertainty as to what's going on with these tariffs that it makes it really hard for a lot of these small businesses to plan, because tariffs today are 145%, but they could be dropped tomorrow. Bottom line, as inventory runs down, we are going to see price increases. We are probably going to see shortages and possibly even company failures if this trade war isn't resolved sometime soon.